pop in, say hi. If you've never popped into one of my lives, and I have two live shows, if you've never popped into either one of them before, hi, I'm Cindy. I explore the inside and the outside. The two live shows that I have are this one here, Chatters Live, which is a show where, people that have kind of drifted towards me and we've connected and somehow some way, I have been graced to have their company over these past years, and in that time we have put together a little bit of a group here, and we have been coming together every single Sunday. Hello Kathy, hello Andrew. Can you let me know, you guys, how the sound is tonight? I came home from work and I just sat down. I had to put the air conditioner in, but because this laptop, I don't remember whether or not I had the air conditioner. It sounds okay, right? My poor cat, I know when she's laying on the bathroom floor, it's because she's overheated. So she was overheated. So the plan was to put the air conditioner in this set of days off. But I came home tonight. She was on the bathroom floor, and I said, you know what? I can't let my cat suffer like that. That's right. And I'm somebody who appreciates when it's cool. I don't know about you guys. Are you hot people or cold people? For myself, I'm normally a very hot person. I like things nice and cool. I like my apartment to feel like a walk-in refrigerator. Um, but again, that's a luxury that I can afford myself. And in affording that to myself, I get lots of benefits of that. And that is, really, really good sleeping habits. I have to be comfortable when I feel that it's time to go to bed, right? I have to feel like it's safe, that everything's okay to shut it down, and so that I can sleep through the night. As we get older, we find that, right, the bladders don't quite hold out the entire 8 hours, right? Once in a while, but not enough for it to even be mentioned, right? So as we mature, the bladder doesn't hold out as well. So we do find that we do have to get up and go to the washroom and maybe get something to drink, cool to drink, get some fluids into us before we crawl back into bed. Grateful that on the norm, I can just switch off right away. But my cat knows I'm up at the same time, and she just figures that, oh, time for an extra 30 seconds of snuggles before she crashes again. So she tries to take her fair share again too. So the air conditioners in. My only concern is when I was setting up my live show was that it was going to interfere with our live. But if it's not going to interfere, evening everybody. It is Sunday. Let me know the news for your week if anything new and exciting came across your path. On my side, I did the auction at work again. No, I didn't get another 50 Buddhas. This time, I got myself a kayak. I bid on some of the sporting gear. Every spring, they do camping setups and fishing setups and outdoor things. And they had an inflatable sports kayak at the head office. And because they knew we were doing our camping one, they gave it to us to put in for the silent auction. And I didn't win my bid. Somebody else won their bid, but then they refused it. So then I was the second in line, and I took the kayak. The only reason he didn't take it, he's a regular of mine too, and I didn't dissuade him not to take the kayak, right? Because if he wanted that kayak, right, he should have bid on it. He should have taken it because he was highest bidder. But because there was a patch on the kayak, he didn't want to take it. I knew that when I bid on it. Right? I knew that when I bid on it. And so I bid accordingly to that patch. It's just a patch. And as long as the rubber is still soft and it's not got creases from being in the box for too many years, that it's got right flawed space in the plastic where it could crack, I'm good with that. And so I bid what I thought was a fair price. I know they run between $250, $350 when you buy them new. Did I need a kayak, you guys? Did I need a kayak? No. But I would like a kayak, and I think, I deserve a little present for myself. And it was an inexpensive uh yeah, it came with the inflatable, the one that you punch into your cigarette lighter to light it up. It also had the strapping and the nets that go around it to protect the sides and the bottom. I have my own paddle wheel, so I'm not taking their paddles. I took my own paddles, and yeah. Now, but I left the boat at work because I'm not taking it home because the bag that it came in, and they didn't, because they had it hanging in the ceiling at the head at the warehouse, and it stayed in the ceiling all winter long, inflated, right? But I guess in transport the patch came loose, right? Who's to say how when the last time it was canoed? And it wasn't a good patch. I got a good patch for it. And I know where the patch needs to go. I make sure when I go to the lake that I take my patch set, and before I take it out of the lake, I put that patch on the night before so that we're ready to go in the morning. Unfortunately, I could do it in my bathtub if it was a smaller kayak, but it's a big one. Yeah, and it has the storage spaces and the seats and all the stuff that I need to go with it. And I thought, oh, what the hell? I have a dinghy, but I thought with the fin, right? Because it comes with a detachable fin. That I thought if I get this and it has the fin, it'll be easier to control if the wind picks up. Because we know what happens to the dinghies when the wind picks up. One time I went to the total opposite side of the lake that I was on. The wind just picked me up, and I made it to the other side of the lake. And I think in less than 6 minutes, I think that I remember that's what it was. And some fishermen came and got me. I guess they saw me flying at high speed. I actually had my sister with me, and I thought I was going to have to walk around the lake to get us back to our camp. It is an adventure, and again, when we talk about failures, these are the same kind of things too, right? But these are careless because this is stuff that could have and I should have researched when I went on the lake or before I went on the lake with the dinghy, right? I learned from the experience that dinghies, right? They don't suit well to breezy and windy days. Okay, let's see who's in here. Hello, Andrew. Let me get my mouse sorted out here so I can stay on top of the comments. I can see Owen's not in tonight, so on occasion, Owen takes, what do you call those? Mental health days. Get himself away from Cindy for a night, baby. I take those mental health days, you guys. Tomorrow, I'm doing a mental health day. I packed my granny wagon. Is just one of those wagons that old ladies take to the grocery store to bring their groceries home. I love the granny wagons. I got the idea of using the granny wagons from the university students, but I got my granny wagon, and last night I checked out the bus route, and I was looking at Google Maps, and I thought, well, where would be a good place to go see the eclipse? Here in Winnipeg, Manitoba, the eclipse just starts around 1 o'clock. It doesn't become a full eclipse until about quarter after 2 in the afternoon. Let me know in the comments if you guys, right, are going to get to see the eclipse. It's going right over North America. And it's pretty clear day out today, so I think it would be fun for me to go on an adventure. It just seems like a Cindy kind of thing to do, right? And so I thought I'd pack myself a lunch, and I packed up my camera gear. I'm charging up my wireless microphone and my charge pack, so that if I run out of power on my phone, then I can charge my phone by my power pack. Maybe I'll take two of them with me. And I took my little portable camp chair, not the big one. I could have taken the big one, but why load myself down? I just took my small camping chair, and it's basically a stool, kind of folding stool, and I put it in my backpack. Hello, Nancy. Hello, you guys. I hope you're having I hope you're having an amazing weekend. I'm just finishing up my work week. Today it was a hard one. I knew you were there, Nancy. I knew you were there. Um, I was just finishing up my work week. I am totally bagged, right? And it doesn't matter how hard you work. It just seems sometimes those days, it just right. There'll still be more to do. You can still find stuff to do. More importantly, I thought for today was to have the place clean and ready to go for the Monday to Friday team, so that they can start their work week off well. We got lots of projects done, lots of things that needed to be done. We got those done. We did every little bit of extra that we could do on top, bringing in the moolah, right? And doing that customer service. It was a fun weekend. It was a challenge. It was a challenging weekend, you guys. I went in. We have these auctions, like I said, every month, and then at the end of the month, before they start the new auction, they got a new auction window now. Um, they everybody comes to pick up their items. Like I picked up my kayak. Well, yesterday somebody came to pick up their record player, and I gave them a really nice record player and a big bag full of albums and stuff. It was a new one too, through the USB and everything. And after the transaction, I came to realize that I gave him the wrong record player. And I was waiting for somebody to come in to pick up this record player that I had given to somebody. And then when he came in to switch the record players, I felt extra bad because he came in. I phoned him, and he says, "Oh, no problem. I'll come in tomorrow." He says, I'll come in tomorrow." And he came in, and I says, "Okay, let me go get the other record player." And this other record player, it smelled like grandma's house. It was filthy. It was like from the 1950s, which wasn't bad, but the one he took home was brand new record player, box record player, and albums. And this one didn't you didn't even get albums with this old one. And then I felt, I says, and I went like this underneath where the needle's supposed to be. It didn't even have a needle in this old record player, which makes it a little bit of a hassle to have needles replaced, right? So he didn't take the record player, but it was really nice of him to bring the other record player back. And I felt really, really bad. I felt really bad. I really wanted him to have that record player, but things happen like that, right? And in that customer service, I didn't lose a customer. I might have even made a customer because, he went out and he started bidding on this month's auction items. Yeah, Nancy, I bought a kayak. Okay. Oh, you guys will have a partial eclipse. Oh, yeah, here in Manitoba, I expect that we are having a full eclipse. Yeah. Oh, Owen made it in today. I told everybody, Owen, that you were probably taking a mental health day off, that you were, right, just going to take the evening off that you do every once in a while, right? I just made a little joke. Oh, he's taking a mental health day off from Cindy. Thank you for popping in, Owen. Nice to see you. Yeah, so we had the auction. Whoopsie. We had the auction. I bought a kayak, you guys. So I'm going to be out on the lake in a kayak. I'm absolutely in a loss because I'm trying to put my vacation together, right? I need to book my camping spots, and I haven't even booked the days off officially for the days that I want off, because the problem is I don't know whether or not to split my vacation into two, or just to keep it where I take most of the month of September off and try and figure out, right, I don't want to go to Arizona in September. It's going to be so hot. And I don't mean to sound like I'm whining, right? But maybe I am whining a little bit because I don't want to wait until next March or April. I think I would want to go first week of March. I would want to leave for my trip. So I've been thinking, do I do two 10-day trips, right? I could do two 10-day trips. It would have to be a pretty quick trip to Arizona, but I think I would be ready to be coming home after 10 days, right? And it's doable, right? It's a 3-day drive down, 3-day drive back, right? I'd want to stay at least 2 days there. I want to go to the Grand Canyon. I need at least two. See, 10 days is not going to be enough to go to Arizona either. I'm between a rock and a hard place with that. So I'm hoping, we're going to have a little bit of an explore day tomorrow. I'm going to film it, you guys, right? Maybe I'll be inspired by something. The reason I picked that area, because I could have picked any park in the city, but it looked like it had walking paths, number one. Number two, it has a lot of history. It's Old St. James area, and it's a fairly early settled area on that side of the river. I live on this side of the river. At the same time, I was thinking it had a really old graveyard there. And I thought, oh, I like graveyards. I know some people think it's kind of creepy, but they're always so pretty. And the trees, the birds are always singing, and the trees are always so beautiful, and the grass is always so well maintained, right? And it's always, right, pretty private. It's not a lot of people in a graveyard. I don't mind graveyards at all. In actuality, I talk to the I talk to the gravestones. There's one graveyard by my house. It's about a mile and a half up the road, and I sometimes go grab a coffee and I go for a walk up there, because one of the gravestones, and there's only one, there's no benches, nowheres to sit in there except the steps of one of the mausoleums. And then also, which is what I want if I should pass away, told my sisters, I don't want a tombstone. I want a bench, right? A granite bench. So that people, when they come to visit, they might sit with me a minute. Wouldn't that be amazing? Just like when I go to the graveyards, quite often, like I said, I'll say, you guys, you have no idea what's going on in this world, right? Why are you hanging out here? If anything or anyone should ever come by and say, hey, follow me, can you at least, right, be curious and right, do yourself a favor and move along with them. I think people stick around, and I don't think that people are meant to stick around that way, right? I never see anything, I never experience anything, but I think it's in kind consideration, because some of my beliefs, it would align that people might get stuck with their bodies after they pass away. And that's what I'm talking to them, so that they just don't stick around, because what's the point in that, right? the birds singing, the pretty trees, right? A bench that they can't sit on. Or maybe they do. Maybe they do. Let me come into the comments here. And I know I was talking about something else, and I'm just going to move that mouse because I keep grabbing for it. I know I was talking about something else, but I lost track and trailed off. Okay, so here we go. Okay, this sound is good. That's good to hear. Yeah, so my cat's going to sleep good. And I suspect I'm going to sleep pretty good too because I got a beautiful comfy quilt. I got an IKEA quilt at work. I think I paid $7 for it with my staff discount, and I know those IKEA quilts run 260 something dollars plus your taxes. So you're looking at a $300 quilt that I got for $7. But it's a prime example of you get what you pay for because it's an amazing, amazing quilt. It keeps me cool in the summer and it keeps me warm and comfy in the winter time. And it's light and fluffy, so it's not super heavy and you don't get entangled in it. And you don't get that hot. You got to come out of it and then you get cold and then you got to crawl into it, right? Because that will keep you awake, won't it? Okay, let's come down into the comments. We've been told we may get 300,000 video visitors here, which would be a massive overload on the community. So far, things appear normal, hoping for a big anticlimax. An anticlimax, you mean just kind of fizzle out? Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're saying, Andrew? You hope that it just fizzles out? Okay, Kathy says, Andrew, uh, interesting fact here is that Carly Simon's daughter now lives here in Halifax and is quite excited that she will see the eclipse after living with her mom's famous song. Oh my goodness. Wow, is that ever interesting? Talk about, right? Talk about serendipity. Talk about, right, those special gifts that get divvied out, right? That they come across our paths, and they come across our paths quite often as gifts, don't they? Right? Just like that idea is, oh, on eclipse day, I just don't want to go up on the roof. I want to go somewheres. And so I looked at Google Maps and I found this place. It's called Almond Creek. And it's a very old creek, but it has moved slightly in its diversion over the past couple hundred years, but that's okay because it would have run through farmland and stuff. And so I'm going to kind of look for pits in the ground under the bushes and stuff, look for rocks and stuff, look for early signs because what I'm interesting, another reason as to why I picked this spot to spend the afternoon in was, right, I'm looking for a new bottle dump, you guys. If anybody out there knows of a bottle dump, right? I'd like to dig it, please and thank you. Yeah, so that's what I'm going to be doing at Ormond Creek. I'm going to hang out in the graveyard, take my camping chair, maybe go sit at the river, right, for a little bit, watch the eclipse, right? I don't have the eclipse glasses, you guys. I didn't even have time. It was just a quick decision to do it, and I didn't even have time to buy the eclipse glasses. So I did a little bit of Googling to see if I can get away without the glasses, and it doesn't seem that I can. The only thing is, I have to wait until the eclipse is almost entirely covered the sun before I can look at it. So my only chance of doing the eclipse is maybe if I do a slow mo, right? Time lapse it, and then just maybe enjoy it when I get home. When I'm editing the video for you guys, I'll edit it for you guys just in case you guys don't get to see it, or if it's a cloudy, rainy day and it doesn't get to happen for you. But yeah, it should be a fun day. It won't be a late day. I'm sure I'll be home by 5 or 6 o'clock at night, and at that point I'll just get into my my days off, the things that I need to get ready to do for next week, right? Taking the lessons, get on top of my next word that I had, right? For or the next word that I'm going to have for next week is going to be our 35th word, 35 weeks, every week picking a word. Actually 37 weeks because two of those weeks I repeated the words. But tomorrow's just going to be a fun day for me. Tomorrow's just going to be a relaxing day. No responsibility, no cleaning. The only thing I got to do is pack my bag and find an outfit for, right? Happy Eclipse Day. This will not happen again in our lifetimes, right? It's something that happens only once every 200 years. So hopefully, optimistically, it's a bright sunny day. And what a perfect time to have an experience like that, right? Because here in Manitoba, so I'm suspecting that, well, it'll be fairly. Oh, it'll be later. It'll be later for Kathy, right? It'll be later on in the afternoon for you. So it might feel like an early dusk for you. Yeah, it's because as you go east, you go into different time zones. And I know Toronto is 2 hours ahead of us. So I suspect that Nova Scotia is going to be 3 hours ahead of me. 10 o'clock at night, Nancy? You come, is it 10 o'clock at night where you live or 11 o'clock at night? I'd be interested to know. Oh my goodness, right? Sometimes because it's not nighttime for me. The sun is just starting to go down. And I don't think of people and where they live in this, well, in this continent or in this world where they might live in a different time zone, right? So I don't really give it a thought. And they say that's the norm, right? Because we deal with what comes across our paths, and sometimes that no news is good news. But yeah, I wouldn't have been happy if I missed the eclipse. So I'm gonna go down and take a look at the board tomorrow. They posted it yesterday downstairs in the lobby, so I'll take a picture to make sure I got my timings down right. I think they said 12:45 it starts, right? Kind of starts at 12:45. The actual eclipse where it starts getting really covered is 1:15. So I want to be in place at 1:15, and then it's in the process of it returning where the eclipse is over, and that's like 10 minutes after 2 in the afternoon or something. So it's not very long that it's visible, right? An hour and a half, maybe an hour and a half probably, that the eclipse will be visible. I didn't see the last eclipse. I wanted to see the last one, but I remember it was really stormy and cloudy. Like there was nothing that we would have been able to see in that. And this one's a more important one too, right? Because this one is a full eclipse. I actually have a full eclipse, a picture. It's not a picture. It's actually a photograph. He made 90 prints of this full eclipse that happened in 1977, and he made copies. And I don't know whether he sold them or not, but one of them ended up in my store, and I said I have to have that. And I think I got it for like, I can't believe it, probably $5, and he was probably selling them for hundreds of dollars because in order to take that picture. Oh, well, you guys, hold on one moment. Just stay right there, just in case, right? Because we can't let our crew, right, not be able to see a full eclipse. That can't happen. Give me 1 second here. Let me get in here. Okay, here we go. This is a photograph. Very expensive picture that I got here too. This is a full eclipse. This is an exact, right? This is a photograph taken on that full eclipse. I think it was in March of 1977. This was taken, 1977. So this is what we're looking to expect to see tomorrow. It's going to be pretty exciting, you guys. It's going to be pretty exciting. You know what? We're going to put this, going to pull my Buddha out of there. And put the, oh, you guys can't see it anyway. Well, there you go. There's my eclipse, but now I'm coming back. Buddha can just sit there. Now I'm coming back and sitting down. Yeah, so that's a full eclipse right here. And yeah, it's going to be pretty exciting to get pitch black and to be able to see something that incredulous. And everybody's freaking out, you know, and mass hysteria, and this is going to happen, and the end of the world. Things are going to change, but it's us that are making things change, right? It's kind of like that idea, an excuse for a party, right? It's kind of the same thing. Excuse for change. The eclipse happens, and this is when, right? That the whole world just collapses in itself. And it's, right? And it's that kind of hairy, scary that gives us those moments when we do need those mental health days, right? Lots of people. I was actually having this conversation with one of my customers today, you know, that, you know, how experiences impact differently on each of us depending on the experiences that we've had in our lives, right? You know, somebody who has gone through a serious traumatic experience, say in a hospital, that they almost died. They went into the hospital when they were a little kid and they almost died, and it was the scariest thing that they had ever experienced, right? But then his brother never had a sick day in his life and never went into the hospital. Well, then grandma gets sick, right? Grandma gets sick, and now it becomes like pulling teeth to get one child to go, right? It could be even just saying goodbye to grandma, right? It's gotten to that point. I know I lost my grandmother. Well, one of my grandmothers I lost at 12. I think the other one I lost when I was 9 or 10 years old. Um, uh, but you know, that's going to impact, and you know, you could have one mother who understands that experience and what the child is going through and help walk them through, and somehow in negotiation get that child, whether it's just by reward, to the hospital to see grandma. But then you might have another mom who doesn't understand. Right, Joey doesn't have a problem. George, why do you have a problem? Get your clothes on. We're going to see grandma. And if you don't like it, well, that's just too bad. Right? So these problems that we have do impact each person individually, right? Depending on the kind of things that we get triggered by, right? Or don't get triggered by, right? That one boy who just can't, right, go into hospitals. He might be just a super adventurer. He just loves to go off and hop a bus or go for bike rides and take off to himself and go off into the mountains where all the big animals are and stuff. And it's nothing to him, right? But then his brother might have gotten bit by a dog, right? And now he's afraid to go into the forest because he thinks he's going to get eaten by a wolf or bit by a bear. It's in those experiences that we have, right? And so, well, sometimes you just get through it with a mental health day. Sometimes it's just recognizing it for what it is. But lots of us, we don't want to look at the past. We don't want to figure out why we are in certain ways, right? And I delve deep into that. And there are lessons still coming at me on repeat, you guys. On repeat. Okay, let's come into these comments here. Um, 300,000 people. Oh my goodness. And Bloomington is not that big, is it? Is Bloomington big enough? That's incredible because I think uh is it Manitoba or Winnipeg? We only have 800,000 people, just over 800,000 people. We haven't even hit a million people here yet, right? So you think about 300,000 people just kind of, you know, swooping down on a, I'm thinking a small city, not a small town. I would say a small city, Bloomington. It sounds like Bloomington sounds like a small city. It kind of sounds like, that movie Peyton Place, just a small little part of the city. Yeah. Andrew, interesting fact here. Oh yeah, we read this one. That was, yeah, super, super interesting, and yeah, absolutely amazing that she's going to get to experience. So you're getting the full eclipse too, then, Kathy, right? Now that is interesting, Kathy. I know the song you're thinking of. You're so vain. William Shatner will be here for an eclipse related event. William Shatner, right? 91. He's turning 92 this year, I think, or he just celebrated his 92nd birthday, if I'm thinking correctly, right? Because he was 91 years old when he went up to on SpaceX on Elon Musk's jet or rocket. Yeah. Um, okay, coming down in the comments, you guys. I said it was going to be slim pickings for show and tell next week, but so many great things that I wanted came in this week. Some things that I can't say no to. Not pricey things, just little things, right? And I says, "Do you really need that, Cindy?" And I said, "No, but it's so nice and it's going to look so good here, or I can use it for this, or I always wanted one," right? So I've been allowing myself these little things. So it's probably going to be a regular size staff day. And then I'm buckling down because the next week I'll be in the dentist and that will suck up all my money for the rest of the month. I won't have any money. I'll be going on a money diet for a month in order to pay for my teeth, right? But I'm willing to do that, right? I want to keep my teeth nice as I can, right? I didn't always have good teeth, at least nice looking teeth, right? And yeah, they're chipped and they need to be taken care of. Okay, let's see. Oh, I'm gonna use the scroll here. Nice to see you, Nancy. Thank you. I knew that was you. Uh, Andrew, thanks so much for the clothes, lol. That's what I did with the funds you provided me the other half, lol, after the Target haul. I'm not too sure if I sent. Oh no, because you sent me the picture from. Oh, but I could have done a screensaver. I didn't take a picture and I didn't send him a copy of the picture that you sent me of the groceries that Andrew got you, Nancy. So maybe I'll do that after work, mate, or do that after work. Do that after my live show. So glad my weekend is over. Earthquake. earthquake. Owen, you had an earthquake? Was that really? Was that the earthquake that I saw today on the news? There was a little earthquake. It was just a little one. I didn't know it was in New York. I'm thinking about going to New York too, because they have Herkimer diamonds in New York, which are a crystal, and also in North Carolina they have amazing crystal too that I want to dig for in North Carolina. So we're gonna have to do the East Coast for sure at some point. I don't know how I'm going to work this vacation, but I know, right? I'm already planning. I'm right. I've already got enough money for the vehicle. We're working on the gas and the camping spots now, right? And it's going to be an amazing vacation, but I would like to have it down packed. What am I going to do? I think it's an out for September in Arizona. I just can't. I just can't take the heat, and I keep saying that, right? The only reason I'm not just making it a final decision that I'm not going is because I have to wait a whole year from now, right? Because I can't go on this trip now, right? I'm at work. I haven't even booked any vacation time and all anything, and I've never missed a day of work in my life, and I'm not about to start now, right? And I can't take that time off. So that means I have to wait until next March in order to go to Arizona. So that's the only reason why I haven't put the axe right down on going to Arizona in September. Because if there was any way I could get to Arizona in September, I'd like to go to Arizona in September and do some rock hounding, right? Go to Tucson for the crystal show. That would be amazing. Okay, here we go. Hi, William. Okay, let me have a sip of my coffee. Really? Long Island and Connecticut. Oh, I'd like to see Connecticut too. I bet you Connecticut is one of those states that is just one of the most beautiful states in all of the USA. It's kind of like, here in Canada, we have certain places in the country that are absolutely spectacularly beautiful. And I go every year, right, to Ontario because it is considered one of the most beautiful places in Canada. But so is Vancouver, and so is Banff, and so is Nova Scotia, and so is PEI, and so is Labrador, right? So is Nunavik. Right? We have lots and lots of beautiful places, and those beautiful places truly are around the world. It's just, what do you want to experience? What is the experience that you want? We know Andrew just wants the 300,000 people rolling through town to roll out of town as fast as they came in, but it'll be over and done with, and maybe you'll miss the noise, Andrew. Because I take it they're pretty hard partiers. Are they hard partiers? Oh, I'm so glad I took the time to make a coffee. I really needed a cup of coffee, you guys. Oh, my weekend is done in that job that puts the roof over my head. Tomorrow I'm going to do a little bit for myself. Tomorrow will be a Cindy day. I also have my live show tomorrow, and then next couple of days I'm just going to do things around the house. I got to properly secure the air conditioner. I just got the air conditioner going so that my cat could be comfy, and she is quite comfy now. She's up in bed right now, so she's not being in the bathroom. But at the same time, I need to make sure that I secure it because once the heat comes, oh my goodness, it gets hot here in Manitoba. I suspect that this year, considering how warm it was, you guys, we barely got a winter here in Manitoba this year. Barely. We set off so many records for the province this winter, And I suspect that it's going to be an ongoing thing. I don't know if you guys know, but there was a point, before the glaciers and the ice age and all that, you know, this was actually a tropical sea where I am right now. We have megalodons and all kinds of reptiles, water reptiles, water dinosaurs that are being dug up all the time here. And yeah, even palm trees that right, coconuts, they're finding all that stuff fossilized. When I went to Ontario, was it last year or the year before? I went to Ontario it was the year before trip, and I found fossils. I found the clams, right? The fossils and the clams, and they were in the rocks where they were just showing a little bit. And I have a friend here, and he's a very kind man. I used to work with him, and he does me favors all the time. His family is absolutely amazing. They never forget me on the holidays. They come in with little cards or something they baked, or they'll stop off and grab me a cup. They're just sweet, sweet people, and a very Christian family too. And they know I'm not Christian, right? And I say that because I I don't feel that affinity to it. I haven't felt that draw in this whole entire process to be drawn that way, right? And I don't know why, but I understand that how I'm drawn is the way that I'm supposed to move. And I think because I keep myself non denominational that way, I have a wider net. You know what I mean? I have a wider net that I don't know, right? Maybe people, if they didn't see that I was, some kind of, I don't know, right? I just wonder sometimes about what people think about me and some of these topics that I talk about, right? And I talk about the things that catch my curiosity, those things that I mull over, right? Those things that I work through. And those things that I experience, because I experience every day, and I can try and control the experience by doing little things like, right, well, time to go back to grounding my job, right? And giving myself those interests and that movement, right? Outside of what I'm doing. And it makes it so that, right, it's interesting and I can see the movement. And and like I said, it is interesting. So it makes it so that I don't feel like I'm wasting my time. If nothing should ever come of what I'm doing, that's okay, right? I got my Sunday live shows, I have my daily show, I have my little job that puts the roof over my head. A few more years going into retirement and my guaranteed income, right? But that may happen, but that may not happen, right? And so, if there's an opportunity, if there's a potential, if there's a possibility that I could write a different story for myself, a little bit more adventurous, exciting, fun, right? But also at the same time, knowing because, right, the brand is part of me, the brand stays with me, that no matter what I'm doing, I'll still be sharing it here. So no matter what, I'm right. I'm not going to say pleased because I would like to break through and achieve some of those dreams and desires of mine, right? But also at the same time, if I'm not fully comprehending the magnitude, if I'm not taking in the lessons that I'm supposed to be taking in, if I'm not willing to make that effort, to make that movement, whether it's for myself or somebody else, then it is what it is. And I have to be content with that. And I think for the most part, I think most people here are pretty content, right? Because we do. We know we're good people. We know each other here are good people. We've known each other for years, a lot of us here, right? Mm. But things change. They always change, right? Just like today, we almost didn't have Owen. We thought it was going to be a mental health day, right? And never feel bad for taking that time for yourself, because that's one thing about this crew, right? You pop in, you pop out, you pop in, you pop out. And, right, we're not going to care for each other any less than what we do right now. And we've got years compounded in these relationships now. Very grateful for those souls that have come across my path that make it so, right? I want to carry on with carrying on. And a lot of people have a difficult time with that, right? In that movement forward. It's a matter of finding the things that make you happy, that put a smile on your face, that make your system feel calm in a healthy way, and then just pursuing it. And as you pursue it, right, conversations, interactions, things will come across our paths for us to deal with. And we get an opportunity to move deeper into it or go, oh no, I don't think so. Yeah, I'm not opening up that box, right? And say no. And each one of us gets to make that choice. Okay, you guys. Well, that's me and my laptop. I got it set to forward. Let me just push it back just a little bit. Just a little bit here. There we go. We are good. Do you guys see? That's where I kept on the floor in this far corner with where this cupboard is. Down to there we go. Is you see the ladder up against the wall? That was the ladder I bought a couple of months ago, but I wasn't too sure what I wanted to do with it. When I pulled the air conditioner out, because that's where it was sitting, that was the only spot that I have where it can just be dedicated over the winter, right, and be out of the way. So I moved the ladder in its place, and yeah, well, I got one of the things that was on the to-do list done, getting the air conditioner in. It's kind of a half a job, but right, it'll be done. Now it'll only be a 5-minute chore getting it all sorted like Fort Knox so that that heat doesn't come into my apartment. That at night we can sleep really, really comfortable. And I know I did a good thing because my cat is conked right out. Conked right out. Yeah, I didn't hear anything about the the earthquake, but then I in my feed, and I can't remember where I spotted it in my feed. It was showing different workplaces with the shaking going on in the workplaces, and the woman who was doing the broadcast had an American accent and made it sound like it was local. Well, I think she said, "Oh yeah, I do remember. I thought it was like in the Mount St. Helens area. That's what I thought, because Mount Edna or something." And I thought, oh, that must be around Mount St. Helens, and that's why there was an earthquake. But no, I guess I was totally off on that one because that was on the opposite side of the continent. Do we have serious plates on the East Coast? You guys? You guys would know better than me. You guys live there. I know on the West Coast, right, as little kids, we were pretty excited by the tremors. They happened all the time, but they were still exciting because we could hear mom's ornaments rattling on the shelf. We'd look at the things hanging on our wall and say, oh, is it going to fall down? Right? Is this the big one? Right? But for the most part, being here in Manitoba, there are no plates there. I don't think I've ever experienced disturbance in the ground in any way living here in Manitoba. Has anybody here? Have you been to Connecticut, Owen? Have you been to Connecticut? Who else has been to Connecticut here? If Owen's been, who else has been to Connecticut? I would love to see Connecticut. I bet you Connecticut is very, very beautiful. And I want to see North Carolina. I'd like to see North Carolina too. It was in the afternoon that the earthquake happened, in the afternoon. Was it pretty, Owen? Was it pretty? I bet you it was very pretty. Oh, and William's been to Connecticut. Is it pretty, William, Connecticut? Never said anything about crystals. I can Google here what crystals, because pretty much, you guys, you can find crystal in almost every state and in every province, and that's an honest truth. You can Google the different rockhound communities in your state because they do have groups. Okay, rock hounding Connecticut. Okay, let's see what kind of crystals Connecticut has. Old mines and quarries are excellent places to go rock hounding in Connecticut. However, some may need help to get to them. Pegmatites, garnets, and other minerals can be found in outcrops of schist and basalt in the Connecticut River Valley. 13 gemstones in Connecticut. Slate stone, slate rock, uh, Almedine garnet, Ubrontus giantus. What the hell is that? Oh, it's a fossil, you guys. You guys got fossils in Connecticut. Yeah, I love the fossils. I'm digging fossils too, you guys. I'm going to the petrified forest in Arizona. Petrified. Oh, it's in Utah, I think. Maybe it's in no, it's in Arizona. I'm gonna go. I'm not quite sure, you guys. It could be Nevada now that I'm thinking about it. My mind's going to the map, and I got the map into my imagination. But Arizona. I think it's in Arizona. Oh, it could be New Mexico too. I'll have to take I'll have to take a look at that too. But yeah, you guys, like every state, and rock hounding is so much fun, and it is a hobby that you could pretty much do in parking lots and on side roads and stuff because they ship in the stones and stuff. I just watched a video of a guy who took a rock from the parking lot of IKEA, the IKEA store, and he polished it and cut it, and it was the most beautiful rocks ever, right? Um, oh, I am sore today. This is one of my trays, my rock trays. See if I can bend it down a little bit without it. See, and they're all different kinds of crystals and and rocks. There's all full of crystals in there. Yeah, look at that crystal. Now there's a name for this one. I can't remember what it's called. Darn, I forget it. All of these crystals I've been watching. Here's one that piece of amethyst, but it has been polished, right? I for myself like the raw crystal. Look at this is just half a point, you guys. Take a look at that. That's a point of a crystal. You see it? It's five-sided, so three sides are showing there, and it got cut in half. This one is a smoky quartz. This one is super neat. This is a new one for me. I just had to do some research on this one, see how close I can get so you can actually see. Can you see the little crystals? It's just so tiny and just covered in little teeny weeny crystals. And then I have my sabers. These are also amethyst. My brother-in-law bought me 3 of those, so that was really nice of him. Then I also have some more, right, polished rock and stuff. Rock hounding is, oh, and look at this, some amber, you guys. Got a little chunk of amber, and that's just one tray. This is actually a tray just made of a piece of slate, is what it is, right? It's a tile, slate tile. And so I use that for my crystals. But I have all my big ones, right, on display. But I also have my little one here, too. It's a little case. And this is full of neat crystals and rocks and samples and neat things in here. Rocks are so amazing. Millions and millions and millions of years old. Millions of years old. I love playing with my rocks. It's like I'm giving myself a manicure. Sometimes I'll pour them in my bowl. And I just stick my hand in my bowl and I play with them. Sometimes I throw them in the bathtub when I'm having a bath, right? Because I do love taking my bath sometimes with the crystals. And then the other one, which never is supposed to be leaving my desk, and for some reason it's not right here. Yes, of course it is. It's not supposed to leave my desk. This is my favorite crystal. This will be with me until I'm gone, and then I'm going to bequeath it to somebody because I'm going to, over the course of my lifetime, I'm going to hand polish this. I play with this every day, and I know it doesn't look like it yet, but I can tell it's already starting to smooth out, right? It's got a dragon on it. It's got a tail in the back, right? I just love this rock, and this one just stays on my desk. I have a friend named Crystal. I was also one of the ideas about my trip was I thought, well, I could do a girls' trip, couldn't I? And invite a few friends and we can camp and canoe and just kind of hang out with each other. That would help with the cost of my trip if I were to do it in 2 trips because we would split the cost. Also, we get to spend time with our friend Crystal because Crystal was a friend of mine and a friend of one of my sisters. We hung out in the same group. My sister still hangs out in that group. I left that group decades ago, but Crystal was a very, very good friend of mine, right? And on occasion, she comes out here to Winnipeg to visit us. She lives in British Columbia now, but I thought, oh, maybe we should do a girls' trip and go to Arizona. I bet she would absolutely love that because she loves the crystals. And I made sure that she got some of my crystal when I heard how much she loved the crystals. She goes, Sydney, I love crystals. Geez, my name is Crystal, by the way. I said, okay, I'll remember that. Right? I'll remember that. Yeah, so my rocks, and I have been with my rocks quite a bit in the past couple of weeks, right? It's just, sometimes I'm more sensitive or right, sometimes you could just feel it out there. You could just feel the snide remarks and the baited hooks, right? To get you to say or do something so that somebody can just go berserko on you and be right in doing that. And so, right, so I find myself really looking at things that are right kind of uh, jumpy in its presentation, right, and in its receivership, and I have to just kind of feel it in the moment. But I'm feeling it, you guys, and I think it's a lot, uh, um, a, not a lot. It's a lot less than what people are making it to be. You know, sometimes it's that mass hysteria, right? You get one person started, and right, and the next thing you know, it's like that remember that radio show, they did a live, that what was it, was Orson Welles, was it Orson Welles, and he did the end of the world, was it called the end of the world? I'm trying to think here, and it was a radio broadcast, and people actually believed it was the end of the world, and he was broadcasting how the aliens had landed and were about to take over the world and stuff. Not quite sure. I know War of the Worlds. Thank you, Owen. Thank you, Owen. Yeah, I remember the newer one with oh my goodness, I forgot his name already. Yeah, I forgot his name already. That's how long it is since I've been watching movies and stuff. And if you don't use it, you're going to lose it. Because I notice quite often now that I'm not remembering the actresses, some of my favorite actresses and actors. There was a time where I just loved movies. I lived vicariously through the stories of these movies. There was a point where I actually managed a video store, and that's all I did is work and come home and watch movies. I did that for so many years. I didn't do it by myself. I had company. I had company in that, but I did do that, knowing that, right, I could have been doing something else, but in the moment, I really really did enjoy it. And you know, you learn things quite often when you live vicariously through other people's experience, or live vicariously through a movie character, right? Sometimes you can find that hope, right? That optimistic idea that everything's going to be okay, and it might just keep you going. It might be the only thing keeping you going, right? Okay, let's just come down here. Uh the fault lines. I guess there are maps out there, eh, Nancy, of all the fault lines and where they lay. I know there's fault lines in California, right? I know there's fault lines, I guess, in Pompeii, right? I guess it would be under the ocean, though, wouldn't they? Oh, 10:30 in the morning. Yeah, I love my rocks, and it's, you know, it's something I always loved, but I wasn't as fanatical as I have been in the past half a dozen years or so. You know, it's just something that I grew into, that I introduced into my life, that I actually enjoyed, and and yeah, and I like being part of the Mining and Mineral Association of Manitoba. I love touching things like, you know, my dragon rock is 500 million years old, you guys. This rock is pure solid amethyst crystal, and I am hand um, polishing it. It probably take me, I suspect it will take me 20 years at least to get this hand polished, right? But I got lots of time. I'm hitting for 114 years old. I don't know what year that is. It's 2024, so 90, and I've lived 60. It's another 30 years away, you guys. Another 30 years away. 30 years. Oh, that's a long time. Is that right? Or is no, it's got to be more. Oh God, I'm really pacing it. So it's 38, 48, 54 years. Oh my goodness. I was really making it sounded like, oh my goodness, I only have 30 years left. Not like it would worry me in any way. These aren't things really I give much thought to. And I do understand that a lot of people give a lot of attention and a lot of thought to these things. But again, it's that idea if you have nothing that you can control, if it's spilt milk, you just gotta move past it, right? Not give it any thought. Kind of like, when I don't get drawn to those news broadcasts and stuff that want to take my attention and have me engulfed in, right? Headline news. When I've got a world to save, not really, right? But at the very least, I have some movement and some saving for myself to do, right? And it's in that idea that, right, I can do this, I can do this, right? And I can apply myself in that. But there is so much going on in the world. And I think it's specifically out there to dissuade us from what I'm doing right now. So it kind of makes me kind of smile in the fact that I'm doing it. I'm doing it anyway. So it's why I don't worry too much about what happens as we move forward. I mean, if today's my last day, do I really want to know it's my last day? And I can tell you guys in all honesty, because it just hit me this moment as to why. And this is what I do, right? People, I was saying today, on my live show on Instagram that it's, some people call it shadow work, some people call it psychology, some people call it self parenting, right? But it's that work that we do and that realizations of where we got things wrong. And in just telling you what I was just saying there, I realized what what I had gotten wrong in that. And then I lost it in trying to go down a branch to retrieve it. And I don't know if somebody there can just trigger me as to what I was talking about the moment before, and I was going in to saying, as we pick up the lessons, it could have been a different story. I sure would love, because it was a good be a gooder. It was I thought it was going to be a gooder, but I lost it in trailing down one of those side branches that I was going down. Um, Really? Well, what about Mount St. Helens? I think I was about 16 years old. I think it was shortly before we moved to Manitoba that it happened, that Mount St. Helens went off. That was super scary to realize that something that far away was impacting us in Vancouver, British Columbia. That happened in Washington, right? Mount St. Helens, when that one erupted. And people actually died in that. Yeah, and it still hasn't recovered yet. And when was that? That was like, oh my goodness, Mount St. Helens. Was that like 1980 or 1979 when that happened? I'm not quite I'm not quite sure. Oh, I am not sure what fault line it is on or if it's the same line as Mount Rainier. Yeah, no, that's not what was triggering for, but it was something. and then I was going to just give a revelation of what I had just discovered. Like I just discovered it as I was talking to you, and I'm going to timestamp this. Oh, it doesn't tell me how far I'm into my life. Is it time stamped for you guys? Can somebody reach out at the time so that I can come in and find the spot again? So because I'm really interested in what I had discovered. I want to discover it. And if I just can't grab things and then just have them disappear on me. Oh, it went the Rainier went off in the that's right. Right? Just before. Yeah, because I moved to Winnipeg in 1980. I was 18 years old when my family moved to Manitoba. I was already out of high school, and just on the cuff, my dad came home one day and he says, "We're moving to Manitoba." And I'm like, "Where's Manitoba?" Had no idea, but they were moving to Manitoba. And the plan was not to take me because I had just turned 18. And, since I was 12 years old, every single day, one of my mother's favorite things to say is, "I can't wait for the day for you turn 18. You're so out of my house." And she'd say that to me every day. And I was freaked out that my whole family was moving to Manitoba. And leaving me behind. I had plans. I was moving in with a high school friend, right? But that was my dad with congenital heart disease that could pass away at any moment. And I wasn't going to be separated from my dad, not a chance in hell. So I asked my dad to talk to my mom and see if he could talk her into letting me come to Manitoba too. Eventually, it was like pulling teeth and wasn't comfortable, but I did end up being able to go after all. Yeah, the 80s. Has anybody seen a volcano before? I I've seen volcanoes as their mountains, but not as volcanoes themselves. Like I know Mount Shasta was a volcano, if I'm thinking correctly, and I've seen Mount Shasta a few times, mostly when I was very very young, not as an adult. I didn't travel to the states much after I become adult because my dad did have congenital heart disease. He was really really sick. It came to my mind. It was about my dad, right? I was going to say, me saying whatever I was saying at the moment, maybe you guys will remember what I was saying. I was going to say that that trigger in me, and the reason I do that is because my dad had a why we were talking about why I don't think about death. Oh my goodness, there you go. Why I didn't think about death, right? And in that moment of saying that, wow, I can't believe it came back to me. Thank you. Uh, that idea about death and why I don't give it thought is because my father got that death sentence when he was very, very young. Like he wasn't even in his 20s yet, and his doctor told him that he was dying from congenital heart disease. And yet, my dad lived to be 47 years old, and he worried every single day about his life. He was concerned about his well being all of his life. My mother used to say, "Don't talk to your dad, don't agitate your dad, you're going to give him a heart attack." I was so afraid I was going to give my dad a heart attack, right? Because he was so sick, and he was sick, but he got to live another 27 years, at least 27 years longer than what he was told he was going to live. And he could have lived in those years. He could have lived from day to day and not worry about his health. He didn't have to get up in the morning and be reminded every day by that big handful of pills that he took every single day of his life that I knew of, right? So that's what I was saying. Whatever it was that I was talking about, it triggered the realization of as to why I don't worry about death, what's coming, because it's coming, right? How it's going to come is the only question that I have. But I don't even have that question because, right, when it's over, right? I'd like it to be as comfortable as I possibly can. Please, I don't want to be electrocuted. Please, I don't want to die in a fire, right? But when it happens, it happens. And so I don't give it any thought. And just in these past few minutes, that's what I realized was that fact that, you know, that I don't think about death because I saw how much my father struggled in death. My dad struggled with it for an extra 27 years longer than what the doctor told him he was going to live. Every day he woke up and thought possibly it might be his last day. He lived his life to the fullest. He did jobs that he shouldn't have been doing, right? Deadliest catch kind of jobs, lumberjacks, really difficult, stressful jobs, and yet he did them, and right, he survived them, and he survived so many different scary and heartbreaking situations, and he got to live to be 47 years, right? That's why I don't think about death, because when it happens, it happens. I don't have a say. My dad didn't have a say, and yet he expected it to happen yesterday. Every day he woke up, oh, it should have happened yesterday, right? Yeah. Okay, thank you for that, to be able to come back to me, right? Because I knew it was important, and yeah, I think that's why I don't think about death, because I don't want to think about something that's not happening in the moment. And what you think about, because what I believe, truly believe, here we go again, right? Those realization, what you think about is realized, right? My dad realized his early passing, and he did his very best to be optimistic, and he chose jobs that he loved even if they were difficult, and he managed his stress, and he managed his health, and he was able to prolong his life by 27 years, right? By doing what he loved, in trying to be as happy as he possibly can, right? And doing right by others. He really, really did want to do right by others. And he did. He did, right? One bad moment doesn't always ruin the whole bunch more. It really doesn't, right? It is all in the lessons, all in those things that we realize. Yeah, pretty neat, isn't it? That I just had that realization. That's why I don't think about death, right? Because my dad thought about death, and I know where that got him, so I don't give it any mind. And because, right, I believe what you think about is realized, right? It's realized. My dad got, right, diagnosed with congenital heart disease, and he knew that. And he took care of that with his pills and his diets and his exercise, right? But my dad was a very spiritual person too. So, he meditated twice a day, which, from what I hear, I'm not a meditator myself, unless you consider my evening walks or my outings meditation. For me, I consider it that way. But I am so focused in those moments. So, in meditation, you're supposed to let yourself go that way. And for me, when I'm out, right, exploring or going for walks, or, right, I am hyper focused because I'm interested in my walk. I'm interested in the landscape. I'm interested in what I'm going to see and what I'm going to experience, right? I've always been I've always been that way. So I guess maybe if you were to think about it, maybe I just spent a little bit extra time in being ahead, right? Thinking about the good things and things I'm moving towards, and those goals and those things I'm working on, right? And those relationships I have, and those relationships that I would like to be better, and those relationships that I don't have at all in the moment, right? You just keep moving. You just keep moving. You just keep popping up, right? You just keep popping up, Nancy, and you'll be seen and you'll be heard eventually. Yeah, and that is the truth. I feel it in the evidence of my own life. I feel it in the evidence of the lessons that I take for myself. I'm not coming back into my life tonight because grateful, because I would have too. I would have come back into my life. I would have watched my life again, maybe made myself some dinner or something, and I would have watched my live again. And right now, I'm perfectly content with my live and my visit with you guys. Robert will be in if he's not in right now. I hope you're having an amazing week. Um, Sharon was in my live yesterday, my chatters live yesterday. Very sweet lady from where is she from? Oh my goodness. I send her letters and cards. She is from California. Oh my goodness. I'm pretty bad tonight. She's from California and she's from Oakland. She's from Oakland, California. But Sharon was in my live yesterday and she told me to say hi to everybody and to let you know that she is doing good. She is doing good and her son is doing good. And she says one of these days she's going to hit it live in the moment and but in the meantime she just wanted to make sure that she said hi to you guys. So I do know that people are going into the lives after I post them. Um, so and I'm not sure if the chat lasts with those ones. I don't mark it to last. I only Oh yes, Chatters Live is marked to carry on in the comments so everybody can come in. So be sure to join in on the conversation when you pop in. If you come in after the live is over, right? Just say hi down in the comments below. It makes me feel wonderful when Nancy comes in and says, "Hi Cindy," or Sharon comes in and says, "Hi Cindy," right? And because some of these people I haven't seen for a while, like I said, what time you give to us, right? To me and to yourself, that's up to you, right? If you pop by once every 6 months, we're good with that too, right? Yeah, I'm lucky to be able to work my platform, but also not just work my platform, but actually be part of that platform myself because I'm just as much a contributor, right? And I'm not really writing anything here right now, right? I should be joining in the conversations, but how about if we do this? Have, have, oh my goodness. Here we go. Try it again. Have a great week. Everyone. Next Sunday will be show and tell, right? So I hope you guys come and hang out with me and see the things that I got from my show and tell this week. We'll be doing a live show and picking a new word tomorrow, and I'll be talking about my little adventure with the solar eclipse tomorrow. One more look. This is a photograph right here of a full solar eclipse. I got that photograph for $5. I really love the glass over top of it. No glare on that at all. Unlike my glasses when I asked for any glare. Look at like a flashing Christmas tree. Okay, you guys, that's it for tonight. Let's come down into the last comments here and say our goodbyes. Oh my goodness, and they'll be partying at 4 o'clock. Well, stay safe, Andrew. Take your cane with you because if you happen to feel you need to walk, you need that support. And also at the same time, if you feel you need to whack somebody upside the head because they're being a fool, right? You've got something to do, right, with it. So yeah, take care of yourself, Andrew. 4 o'clock in the morning, you're getting up from your sleep. Is that what you're gonna do? You're gonna get up from your sleep to go walk a friend to work? Oh, you're just a sweetheart, Andrew. You're just a sweetheart. You're all sweethearts, you guys. You're all sweethearts. Okay, you guys. I am going to get myself something cold to drink. I'm going to check on my cat, make sure she's not dead. She's enjoying the air conditioner so much. Good news that the air conditioner is in and it's not interfering with our sound. I'll be off on an adventure tomorrow. I'll be back tomorrow and we'll do our live show. If you happen to see us early tomorrow evening or late tomorrow afternoon online, pop in, say hi. That'll be me, right? Hopefully, with a story of an adventure that was absolutely amazing and dazzling. Okay, you guys. Bye bye.